Have you ever felt like everything in your life was shaking? Like God was silent, but your spirit knew something was shifting? What if I told you that what feels like breaking is actually your becoming? This is not chaos, it's creation. You're not falling apart, you're being rebuilt for glory. In this powerful message from Spiritual Journals, you're about to hear a breakthrough revelation that will awaken your faith, restore your peace, and remind you that healing always begins in the unseen. If you've been waiting for confirmation that your pain had purpose, this is it. God is not punishing you, He's preparing you. The waiting, the silence, the tears were never wasted. They were shaping the vessel that heaven is now ready to fill. And I promise you this, before this video ends, you'll understand why your faith was tested, why your prayers seemed unanswered, and how your healing is already unfolding right now. So lean in, chosen one. Let these words become the reminder that you are not forgotten, you are being refined. Every scar tells a story, and yours is about to reveal resurrection. Subscribe to Spiritual Journals and turn on the notifications so you never miss a word from heaven. Together, we're spreading God's truth, faith, and healing across the world. Thank you for being part of this movement, for carrying light when the world needed hope. Stay with me, because what's coming next will change how you see your waiting, your pain, and your purpose forever.
The pressure you've been under isn't a sign of failure. It's the weight of divine promotion. You see, pressure only comes when heaven is preparing something powerful. Diamonds are formed in pressure. Olive oil flows through crushing. Resurrection comes after the weight of the cross. What you're feeling isn't punishment, it's preparation. You're not being buried, you're being planted for purpose. The ground may feel cold, the soil heavy, the night long, but something sacred is happening beneath the surface. God is using this very season to reveal your divine purpose in ways your comfort never could. The seed doesn't fight the soil, it surrenders to it, trusting that what feels like burial is actually the beginning of blooming. That's what you're doing right now. You're surrendering to transformation. The weight pressing against you is not meant to destroy you, but to define you. God is deepening your roots, stretching your faith, and anchoring your soul so that when you rise unshakable. Pressure means potential. Pressure means promise. Pressure means heaven is up to something. Sometimes before God brings promotion, He allows constriction. Before expansion, He allows compression. It's not a curse, it's a calibration. You're being aligned with your divine purpose. Think of Joseph. Before he wore the robe of leadership, he wore chains of captivity. Before he stood in the palace, he stood in the pit. What looked like betrayal was actually direction. What seemed like an ending was the setup for his elevation. The pit didn't end his purpose, it revealed it. That's what your pressure is doing. It's revealing who you are beneath what you've lost. It's peeling back layers that were never meant to stay. It's teaching you to depend on God's plan, not your own. Pressure is heaven's classroom where faith learns to breathe when it feels suffocated. Even Jesus knew pressure. In the Garden of Gethsemane, He felt it so heavy that His sweat became like drops of blood. That place, Gethsemane, literally means oil press. The Son of God was pressed before He poured Himself out for the world. You too are walking through your own Gethsemane, a place where the weight feels unbearable, but out of it will flow an anointing that changes lives. The pressure is not proof of punishment, it's proof of purpose. You are being refined, reshaped, and reborn into someone heaven can trust with more. When you ask for growth, God doesn't send ease, He sends expansion. And expansion often arrives disguised as pressure. The walls feel tight because your spirit is stretching. The silence feels loud because heaven is rearranging. The waiting feels endless because destiny is being timed to perfection. Trust that pressure doesn't mean God has forgotten you. It means He's focused on you. He's hands-on with your life, molding, shaping, and sculpting you into the vessel that can hold His next outpouring. Without the pressure, you never see the strength that's been sleeping inside you. Without the crushing, you never discover the oil of your divine purpose. Every tear, every delay, every not yet has been part of a greater orchestration. God doesn't waste pain. He repurposes it. The pressure that's been making you cry will soon be the testimony that makes you shine. In the book of Romans, Paul said, "We glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation produces patience, and patience experience, and experience hope." That hope doesn't disappoint because it's anchored in divine purpose. God is producing patience where you used to panic, faith where you used to fear, wisdom where you once wondered why. The pressure is refining your perception so that you can see His plan clearly when it unfolds. When it feels like too much, remember that God never allows pressure without purpose. Like clay in the potter's hand, you're being spun and pressed into shape. The pressure of His hand isn't cruelty, it's craftsmanship. The potter never presses what he doesn't plan to perfect. Every squeeze, every spin, every season is shaping you into a masterpiece that reflects His glory. There's beauty being born in your breaking. There's power growing in your patience, and there's destiny being revealed in your delay. This is not the end. It's the in-between, the sacred middle where God does His best work. The soil that surrounds you now is rich with everything needed for your growth. You might not see it yet, but heaven has already marked this moment as necessary. The same God who allows the weight will also send the wind that lifts. The same God who permitted the darkness will command the light to shine again. You are not stuck. You are stationed for transformation. You are being aligned with your divine purpose. Even the pressure has a pulse. It's the heartbeat of God reminding you that something within you is alive, still growing, still forming. Don't curse the pressure. Embrace it. Let it teach you. Let it strengthen you. Because the very thing that feels like breaking will one day become your blessing. The pressure is proof that heaven hasn't forgotten your name. It's proof that you carry something worth protecting. It's proof that you are chosen for more than survival. You are chosen for significance. So breathe, rest, trust that the soil knows what it's doing. You are not buried, you are being built. You are not losing, you are learning. And when the time is right, the ground that once held you down will release you up. The season that once confused you will become the story that inspires others. The pressure will fade, the light will break through, and you'll realize it was never meant to harm you, it was meant to birth you. This is your becoming. This is your divine purpose in motion. And soon, you'll rise from the very ground that once felt heavy, blooming in the sunlight of God's promise, stronger, wiser, and full of glory. The pressure was never your enemy. It was your evidence. Evidence that you were chosen, molded, and destined for something far greater than you ever imagined. Every closed door, every missed opportunity, and every heartbreak that left you wondering why, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God is repositioning you. He's not punishing you, He's preparing you. The places that no longer fit you are being shaken loose because heaven knows you can't carry your new anointing in old surroundings. What looks like endings are actually divine exits leading to promised entrances. This is not a setback, it's a setup for something sacred. When God repositions you, He often does it quietly. You don't get a warning, you just start feeling the pull, the unease, the restlessness that whispers, there's more. You try to hold on to what's familiar, but it slips through your hands like sand. That's not failure, it's favor. God is clearing what cannot go with you. The people walking away were never meant to complete your assignment. The opportunities that vanish were not part of your eternal plan. Every shift is strategic. Every silence has significance. Heaven's logistics are flawless, even when they confuse your heart. In this moment, you may feel displaced. But what if displacement is the first stage of divine placement? Sometimes God has to move you before He reveals you. Think of Abraham. God told him, "Leave your country and your father's house and go to a land I will show you." Not a map, not a guarantee, just a promise. And that promise required trust. Abraham's faith wasn't built by comfort, but by motion. When he obeyed, purpose followed. That's what's happening to you right now. You are walking into unseen territories, guided by unseen hands. You don't have the full picture, but you have a faithful God who does. This is what a true Christian motivational speech feels like. Not hype, but holy alignment. It reminds you that when one chapter ends, heaven is already editing the next. You are not being moved randomly. You are being positioned prophetically. God is shifting you to higher ground where your gifts can grow freely and your purpose can breathe. You've outgrown the old you. That's why the old environment feels tight. That's why the conversations no longer feed your soul. That's why your spirit feels stirred, but your surroundings feel stale. The anointing on your life is expanding, and expansion requires movement. Just like a tree that must be transplanted to bear more fruit, you're being uprooted from shallow soil and planted into richer ground. It's uncomfortable but necessary, because staying where you were would have starved what God is growing inside you. Repositioning isn't punishment, it's promotion in disguise. Look at Joseph. His brother sold him, his name was slandered, and his future looked buried. Yet every betrayal was actually a breadcrumb leading him closer to destiny. The pit pushed him to Egypt, the prison introduced him to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's palace revealed his divine purpose. What looked like a chain of tragedies was really a roadmap of miracles. God never wastes a wound. He uses it as a compass. That's why Romans 8:28 says, "All things work together for good to those who love God." Even your losses are working for you. Even the people who left are making room for those who will stay. Even the no you cried over is protecting the yes that will bless you. God is rearranging things to fit the destiny He designed long before you knew your own name. Every shift is calculated. Every delay is timed. Every detour is intentional. And when the repositioning is complete, you'll see how everything connects perfectly. Your new season won't just be about elevation, it will be about revelation. You will realize that God wasn't taking things away from you, He was taking you away from things that were shrinking your faith. Sometimes His mercy comes disguised as loss. Sometimes His favor feels like frustration, but if you look closely, you'll see His fingerprints in every detail. He's removing the counterfeit to make room for the covenant. He's taking you out of survival mode and placing you into significance. The shift isn't meant to confuse you, it's meant to crown you. You are being aligned with your divine assignment, and alignment always comes with adjustment. You can't move into your next while clinging to what's expired. You can't step into purpose while anchored in your past. God is inviting you to trust Him in the transition. It won't make sense at first, but faith rarely does. The Israelites didn't understand the wilderness. They wanted to go back to Egypt because at least it was familiar. But what they called comfort was actually captivity. God had to strip away the familiar to make room for freedom. And He's doing the same for you. Don't let nostalgia keep you stuck in places that can't sustain your calling. When God repositions you, He doesn't consult your feelings, He consults your future. You may not see the whole staircase, but you have to take the step. The first move is the hardest because it requires trust without evidence. But trust is the bridge between where you are and where He's taking you. This is not just a relocation in the natural, it's a spiritual migration. God is shifting your mindset, your habits, your priorities. He's refining your focus so you can see your life through the lens of divine purpose. The friends who faded out weren't betrayals, they were assignments completed. The door that slammed shut wasn't a denial, it was divine direction. You prayed for purpose, but purpose often comes packaged in pruning. Don't mistake subtraction for rejection. God subtracts what limits you so He can multiply what fulfills you. What you think you're losing, heaven is simply reassigning. This is the hour to walk by faith, not by familiarity.
You won't need to chase what's meant for you, because what's meant for you will meet you at the intersection of obedience and timing. And when it does, you'll understand why God had to separate you before he could strengthen you. The old doors closed because they couldn't handle the weight of your next. The old relationships ended because they weren't built for your elevation. God is repositioning you, not just for blessing, but for balance. Not just for increase, but for influence. He's placing you where your character matches your calling, where your peace matches your purpose, and where your heart matches heaven's rhythm. You don't need to force anything. You just need to stay faithful. Because the God who repositions is the same God who restores. Every step that feels uncertain now will soon become sacred ground. And when you look back, you'll thank him not only for where he took you, but also for everything he took away. This is your confirmation that you're not being abandoned, you are being advanced. You are not being overlooked, you are being optimized. The divine rearrangement happening right now is setting the stage for the greatest reveal of your life. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing. God is not moving you away from something good. He's moving you towards something greater. This is your moment of holy repositioning. The plan is bigger, the calling is deeper, and the purpose is eternal. Heaven's hands are still guiding your steps, and even if it feels quiet, remember, the silence of God is often the sound of strategy. This is not an ending, chosen one. This is your beginning. The shift is happening, the promise is near, the new place is prepared, and all of it, every twist, every tear, every transition, is working together for your divine purpose.
You've been crying out, asking, God, do you still hear me? And he does. But what you didn't know is that his silence was never absence, it was strategy. Heaven speaks in frequencies too pure for noise. It speaks in stillness, in whispers, in moments when everything else fades. You weren't being ignored, you were being invited into intimacy. The silence was not punishment, it was preparation. When you couldn't hear his voice, he was fine-tuning your heart to recognize his presence. Sometimes, before the sound of breakthrough comes, there must be the sound of surrender. The silence was sacred because it stripped away distractions, dismantled dependence, and drew you closer to his essence. You thought you were waiting for God to speak, but he was waiting for you to listen. In that quiet space, heaven was doing deep work. Every unanswered prayer was laying a foundation. Every tear you cried became a seed, watered by faith, destined to bloom in the right time. Your delay was divine detail, timed perfectly by the one who never misses a moment. God doesn't rush perfection, and you, chosen one, are his living masterpiece in progress. What looks like waiting is actually weaving. The silence is the loom where destiny is being threaded with precision. When God seems quiet, it's not because he's forgotten, it's because he's forming. The potter does not speak while he's molding the clay. He lets his hands do the talking. You are in his hands, being shaped by love, not left in loneliness. What you feel is pressure is his sculpting. What you feel is emptiness is him making room for new revelation. The silence is his workshop, and your spirit is his canvas. This is where spiritual awakening begins, in the stillness where your soul finally stops striving and starts hearing. In the Bible, Elijah learned this truth on Mount Horeb. He expected God to show up in the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, but the Lord was not in any of those. He came in a gentle whisper. The whisper required stillness. It required attention. It required silence. That's where Elijah's spiritual awakening began. Not in the noise of power, but in the quietness of presence. And that's where yours is happening too. God's silence has been speaking volumes, teaching you to discern not by sound, but by spirit. You're learning to sense him in the ordinary, to find him in moments that once felt empty, to trust that the unseen is still unfolding. This is what the silence was meant to teach you, that faith isn't built in noise, it's built in knowing. Knowing that even when he doesn't speak, he's still sovereign. Knowing that even when he feels far, he's still faithful. Knowing that his silence doesn't mean stop, it means stay. Stay steady. Stay rooted, stay believing, because behind the silence, He's building what your voice has been praying for. Look at Jesus in the tomb. For 3 days, heaven went silent. The world thought the story was over. The disciples mourned, the earth waited, but in that silence, resurrection was being written. The stillness of those days was not defeat, it was divine suspense. The miracle was not loud, it was sacred. The same is true for you. The silence that has surrounded your life has been the setting of your resurrection moment. It's not over, it's unfolding. God's silence is not the sound of nothing, it's the sound of something not ready to be revealed yet. When He hides His hand, it's not to harm you, but to surprise you. The quiet is a cloak around the coming glory. Every delay, every unanswered question, every lonely prayer has been working together in divine symmetry. You are being positioned for a release so powerful that when it happens, you'll understand why it had to be silent first. Silence grows strength. It grows discernment. It grows faith that can't be shaken by circumstance. You're learning to walk by trust, not by noise. You're learning to live by revelation, not reaction. That's the beauty of spiritual awakening. It's not loud, it's luminous. It's the gentle dawning of understanding that God was closer in the quiet than He ever was in the chaos. When you couldn't trace His hand, His heart was holding you. When you couldn't see progress, heaven was shifting pieces behind the scenes. Even now, while you read these words, that same silence is working in your favor. It's not the end of a conversation, it's the breath before a divine declaration. When God speaks again, and He will, it won't be a whisper of confusion. It will be a roar of clarity. The silence will break with direction, favor, and fulfillment. You'll look back and realize He never stopped speaking. He simply changed the language. The waiting taught you to understand Him on a deeper level. The quiet taught you to recognize His tone in new ways. The silence refined your sensitivity to His spirit, and now you can discern His movement in ways you never could before. This is the secret of your awakening. The silence was never empty. It was echoing with preparation. Just as seeds break in darkness before they bloom in light, you too were breaking open in your season of silence. And the breaking wasn't the end, it was the beginning of becoming. Your tears were the baptism of your next chapter. Your stillness was the soil where purpose was planted. Your silence was the sanctuary where your spiritual awakening took root. The world teaches us to fear quiet seasons, but heaven uses them as holy ground. It's in the quiet that your calling matures. It's in the quiet that your faith finds its voice. It's in the quiet that you stop chasing signs and start becoming one. God's silence isn't distance, it's depth. It's the stretching of your soul so it can carry more glory. And soon, very soon, that silence will break. It will shatter not with chaos, but with clarity. The voice you've been longing to hear will echo again, and when it does, it won't just comfort you, it will commission you. It will awaken you to the reality that nothing was wasted, not one moment, not one sigh, not one tear. You'll see that the silence was sacred all along. And what's about to break that silence will not just change your circumstances, it will change you. Because in the stillness, something eternal was born. That's what spiritual awakening truly is. The discovery that God was never gone, only guiding you quietly toward your transformation. The silence was not your ending, it was your beginning, wrapped in reverence, waiting for the right time to speak your next miracle into being.
When it happens, it will happen fast. Like lightning splitting the sky, His promise will arrive, sudden, bright, undeniable. You will blink, and the very thing you've prayed for will be standing right before you, glowing with the evidence of His faithfulness. The blessing won't knock softly. It will break through every barrier that once made you doubt. This is not a small turn. It's a sudden shift, a holy interruption, a divine acceleration that will catch even your fears off guard. God is not waiting for the right weather, the right timing, or the right opinions. He's waiting for your readiness, for that quiet yes in your spirit that says, I trust you. What took years to build will unfold in moments. The timelines of heaven are not limited by the clocks of earth.
When he says now, the years you lost collapse into the present moment of favor. That's what happens when destiny decides to move. This is the season of divine acceleration, where God compresses time and expands possibility. You won't have to chase what's meant for you. It will find you, because grace knows your address. But hear this clearly. The shift isn't just about what's arriving, it's about what's awakening within you. You're not just being blessed, you're being aligned. This is the moment where finding purpose becomes more than a phrase. It becomes your reality. You will see why the waiting was necessary, why the pain had purpose, why the silence carried strategy. God wasn't withholding, he was building. You thought he was late, but he was waiting for your heart to be strong enough to carry what he always planned to give. The sudden shift isn't random, it's revelation. Heaven is revealing what's been hidden, and when that unveiling happens, you'll realize the delay was protection. You weren't ready to handle the magnitude of your next, so he hid it until you could stand without breaking. This is what divine timing looks like. Perfect alignment between your maturity and your miracle. When Joseph was forgotten in the prison, he didn't know that his shift was only one conversation away. In one moment, his name went from the dungeon to the palace. He didn't climb his way up, God lifted him. The very place that confined him became the place that refined him. When the shift came, it came suddenly. And when it comes for you, it will make sense of everything that once made you cry. That's the beauty of divine acceleration. It doesn't erase your past, it redeems it. It takes the ashes of what broke you and turns them into the soil that grows your purpose. Every tear, every delay, every heartbreak was a rehearsal for this unveiling. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time for what God has prepared. The shift is not punishment, it's placement. You're being positioned in purpose, and that's why it feels like the ground beneath you is shaking. Heaven is rearranging your coordinates. God is placing you in rooms your name has never entered, in conversations your voice has never reached, in opportunities you didn't even know were waiting. You don't have to fight your way into this. You just have to stand in faith long enough for the wind of his will to carry you there. This is the grace of divine speed. What others toil to earn, God hands to those who've learned to trust. But this isn't about things. It's about transformation. The sudden shift is not just external, it's internal. It's about finding purpose in the places you once lost peace. It's about realizing that the very seasons that broke you were actually birthing you. Every disappointment had a design. Every detour held direction. The shift will make you see that nothing was wasted. What looked like destruction was divine construction. He was rebuilding your faith beneath the surface while you thought everything was falling apart. Just like a seed buried in the dark, you couldn't see it, but life was breaking through. And now, in this sacred moment, you are rising from the soil of your own surrender. This is what a sudden shift feels like. It's not loud, it's divine. It's not chaotic, it's complete. God doesn't need to announce what he's already ordained. When he moves, the atmosphere responds, and everything that once resisted you begins to align. People will say, "How did it happen so fast?" But you'll know the truth. It didn't happen fast, it happened faithful. It took years of unseen obedience, countless prayers whispered through tears, and quiet faith that refused to die. That's what the shift honors, your endurance in the unseen. Heaven moves for those who stayed steady when nothing made sense. Think of Ruth, gleaning in fields of lack, unaware that destiny was about to find her in the form of Boaz. One day she was gathering leftovers, the next she was walking into legacy. That's what divine acceleration does. It takes you from overlooked to overflown. The shift is coming to remind you that God never forgot your name. You are not invisible to him. You are invaluable to his plan. Even when you felt left behind, heaven was writing your return. The story is being rewritten even now. This is not just about promotion, it's about revelation. You are about to see yourself the way God has always seen you, chosen, capable, equipped, and anointed for such a time as this. This is not random favor. It's restoration with precision. What was lost will be returned but multiplied. What was delayed will be delivered but perfected. The sudden shift is God's way of saying, "You've waited long enough. Now watch me work."
And when he moves, no one can stop it. No voice can cancel what he's spoken. No opposition can block what he's building. The sudden shift will silence every doubt and confirm every prophecy spoken over your life. You won't have to explain it. Your peace will preach it. Your success will testify. Your transformation will tell the story. This is the moment you've been preparing for. It may feel surreal, but it's real. You are walking into the answers that once seemed impossible. The same God who turned the Red Sea into a pathway is turning your impossibilities into open doors. Stay expectant. Keep your heart soft, because the shift isn't coming slowly. It's already in motion. Heaven's hand is moving pieces you can't see, aligning details you never thought could fit. The next time you feel the wind change, know this: it's not a storm, it's a signal. The shift is here, the blessing is near, and this time, it's not just about finding purpose, it's about living it, breathing it, becoming it. Because when God shifts you suddenly, it's not to impress the world, it's to awaken the world through you.
The blessings coming your way aren't random. They are assignments wrapped in divine timing. Every door that's about to open, every opportunity that's about to appear, is carrying purpose inside of it. You are not receiving blessings just to make your life easier. You are being positioned to carry light into dark places, to bring healing where there has been heartbreak, to awaken faith where there has been fear. This is not coincidence, it is calling. The next season of your life isn't about accumulation, it's about activation. The very thing you've been praying for will not just comfort you, it will commission you. Passion will rise again. Dreams that once seemed buried will start to stir. Hope will breathe fresh air into your spirit because God is igniting something within you that cannot be silenced. This is your breakthrough message, your reminder that what once broke you was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to build you. Every painful season had a purpose, and every disappointment carried a hidden direction. The tears that once burned your cheeks were watering the seeds of your destiny. You may not have seen it then, but heaven was shaping you for something bigger. This is the rise of purpose, the moment where everything that once made you question now begins to make sense. In the Bible, Joseph experienced this same divine unfolding. He was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, forgotten in a prison, but none of it was wasted. Every hardship was a rehearsal for his promotion. When his moment came, Joseph didn't just rise for himself, he rose to feed nations. His pain became provision, his wounds became wisdom. That's what God is doing for you right now. Your story is being rewritten from suffering to significance. The same places that broke you will become the very places you bring breakthrough to others. Your scars will speak healing. Your silence will turn into sound. Your endurance has built a foundation that can now hold the weight of purpose. You thought you were waiting for the blessing, but the blessing was waiting for you to become the person who could carry it. That's why the process took time. That's why you had to outgrow certain circles, release certain fears, and walk through valleys where faith was your only light. The rise of purpose doesn't happen on mountaintops. It happens in the wilderness where your trust in God becomes your compass. Even Jesus went through the wilderness before walking into his ministry. The wilderness didn't weaken him, it prepared him. It clarified his calling, sharpened his voice, and revealed his authority. That's what your wilderness has been doing for you. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You had to walk through shadows to learn how to shine. You had to lose comfort to gain clarity. You had to be stretched so you could carry something greater than yourself. This is your breakthrough message from heaven. Your purpose is about to collide with your power. The same God who called Moses from the desert, who anointed David in obscurity, who chose Esther in a foreign land, has his eyes on you. He's not looking for perfection, he's looking for availability. Your obedience in the small things has prepared you for something monumental. The doors that are opening now aren't opening by accident. They're opening because God trusts you to walk through them with humility and grace. But hear this clearly. Purpose is not about platforms, it's about people. The rise of purpose isn't about you being elevated, it's about others being lifted through you. You are being blessed to be a blessing. When purpose rises, it spreads. It heals families, restores communities, revives faith in those who lost it. Your breakthrough will become someone else's confirmation that God still moves. You are the living proof of what redemption looks like. You are the answered prayer someone didn't even know they were praying. That's why your blessings will come with weight. They're not just rewards, they're responsibilities. God is trusting you with influence, with compassion, with the ability to change atmospheres wherever you go. You will walk into rooms and shift them not because of what you have, but because of what you carry. You carry light, you carry peace, you carry presence. The rise of purpose isn't about what's happening around you, it's about what's awakening within you. The flame of faith is burning brighter, the voice of doubt is growing weaker, and your spirit is beginning to understand that all things truly have been working together for good. This is what Romans 8:28 means when it says that God causes all things to work together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. You are called, you are chosen, and now you are being released. The pain that once felt endless will soon become the platform of your empowerment. You look back and see that nothing was wasted, not one tear, not one trial, not one delay. Every closed door pushed you closer to destiny. Every loss carved space for new life. You were never losing, you were being refined. Purpose was being purified in the fire of adversity. And now that you've come through the flame, you shine differently, you see differently, you live differently. You no longer chase things, you attract them because your spirit carries divine alignment. This is your season of purposeful power, your moment of spiritual clarity. You're not just entering a new chapter, you're stepping into a whole new story, one where your purpose and your passion walk hand in hand. Stay grounded, stay grateful. Gratitude keeps the heart soft when elevation comes. Remember that your rise is not for recognition, it's for revelation. You are here to reveal God's goodness to those who have forgotten it. You are the vessel through which heaven will pour healing. Every conversation, every connection, every opportunity that unfolds now will carry divine intention. What's coming next will not only bless you, it will bless everyone connected to you. Because when purpose rises, it doesn't rise alone, it lifts everything around it. So stand tall, chosen one. The season of waiting is giving way to the season of working wonders. Your light is ready, your heart is steady. This is not just another word, it's your breakthrough message from heaven itself. The rise of purpose has begun, and the world is about to see what God can do through a life that refused to quit.
Chosen ones, as this message comes to a close, I want you to breathe in this truth. You are not the same person who started this journey. Something within you has shifted. Heaven has confirmed what your spirit already knew. You were never waiting in vain. Every tear watered the soil for this very moment. You are standing on the edge of breakthrough, not by luck, but by divine design. This was never about endurance alone. It was about transformation, about personal growth that only comes when your faith has been tested and your heart learns to trust again. If this message stirred something deep inside you, type in the comments, "I'm walking into my purpose." Let that declaration seal your agreement with heaven. This is your prophetic moment to step forward in faith, knowing that everything that once broke you is now building you. And if this spoke to your spirit, if you feel the presence of God confirming it even now, take a moment to like this video, not just as a reaction, but as an act of faith, a way of saying, "I receive this word." Before you go, subscribe to Spiritual Journals, where chosen ones rise together in wisdom, healing, and divine clarity. Turn on notifications so you never miss a message of hope and restoration. I'm deeply thankful for every soul connected here, for every heart that keeps believing even in the silence. May God cover you with peace that surpasses understanding. May your steps be steady, your mind renewed, and your spirit strengthened for what's next. And may your life become living proof that trusting the unfolding is never in vain.